My name is Kyle Gomez-Lineweber. I'm the Director of Policy and Advocacy with the GALEO Impact Fund. We seek to civically engage the Latino community. There are more than close to 5 million Latino voters in the state of Georgia, and we also seek to advocate in our community's interests. We speak in opposition to SB 21. We feel that SB 21 is, at best, is redundant, and at worst is incredibly harmful to our communities. HB 1105, which passed last session, it's already been discussed some, seeks to withhold funds from local officials and local entities that don't comply with ICE detainer requests, even though federal courts have ruled numerous times that those detainer requests are just that, requests, not mandatory. And then, of course, Georgia Code, Chapter 36, Title 80, and Section 23 also seeks to withhold funds from local governments enacting quote-unquote sanctuary policies. As has been discussed, throughout this hearing, sanctuary policies are broadly defined by this code section, and that's an issue. But SB 21 goes a step further. It doesn't just take funding. Wouldn't just take funding away, but it would actually drain local taxpayer dollars to defend against potentially frivolous lawsuits, which is a particular concern, again, when we consider how broad sanctuary policy is defined. SB 21 offers no resources, insights, or analyses as to the cost of this legislation, which is especially relevant, again, given the passage of 1105 and the fact that we know that local governments in Georgia lost close to $90 million between 2008 and 2018 just to comply with ICE detainer requests. Other concerns that we have are around, we know that, for example, the Chamber of Commerce has told us that we are going to face a workforce shortage crisis by 2030. In the state of Florida, when we saw SB 168 passed into law, there were major effects on numerous industries, from tourism, agriculture, to construction, which are all important industries here in the state of Georgia, which we know that immigrants are the base and foundation of for those industries. And then, of course, we have concerns around public safety. When the state of Texas passed SB 4, there were numerous studies that showed that there was a direct relation to the passage and implementation of SB 4 and an underreporting of crimes in the state of Texas, and we would hate to see that happen here in the state of Georgia. And then, of course, we have concerns about the long-held principles of home rule and usurping the authority of local voters and their will, and their local officials implementing their will. And then I would just make one final point that I wasn't going to bring up, but it was brought up earlier. Someone mentioned that there were 1,700 violent felons, immigrant felons in the state of Georgia. That number is off by about 1,600. So that is incorrect, and there are numerous, we disagree. I disagree there, sir. And there are numerous studies that show that immigrants, undocumented or otherwise, are about a third as likely to commit any crime when compared to citizens. So, thank you.
Yes, sir, you may.
Sir, you're giving misinformation. Everybody on this body in the House last year, every year I put on their desk from the Department of Corrections the list of all ICE detainers and the crimes committed by those individuals. And it fluctuates between 1,600 to 1,700 every year. So everybody in this body has reviewed it. Even lately, you don't know what you're talking about. Thank you for being here today.
All right, Chairman Sains.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And just to be clear, I think you did state it at the beginning, but you're with the Georgia Association of Latino Elected Officials?
I'm with the GALEO Impact Fund.
Okay, is that associated with the?
It's a C4 organization. The GALEO, which you're talking about, is 501c.
Okay, sorry, and I understand the distinctions.
Yeah, I just want to make that clear.
So, in understanding the correlation of opinions coming from a different source, is it GALEO or GALEO Impact's opinion that fully enforcing our state and federal illegal immigration laws better serve the Latino community, which I'm a part of, that are a vibrant part of this state? Is it your organization's position, just when we talk about the baseline of what we're trying to do, that it better serves all Georgians, Latino Georgians who are here with full authorization of the law. Is that a policy position that we're in agreement of, or is that a distinction?
Oh, are you asking?
Does it better serve Georgia and the Latino community by fully enforcing our state and federal immigration laws?
I mean, we certainly don't advocate for, the breaking of law, and as I mentioned before, there is numerous studies that show that immigrants, undocumented and otherwise, are a third as likely to commit crimes as U.S. citizens, and are led through our Puente para la Gente survey, which we conducted, and numerous other resources that we have, our community, the Latino community, of registered Latino voters in the state of Georgia, have a nuanced view when it comes to immigration. Yes, we want to, protect our national security interests, in Georgia and the United States. No one's pushing or advocating for anything against that, but we also want to see comprehensive immigration reform that keeps families together and preserves the economic success in a state that likes to claim to be the #1 state to do business in.
Real quick, because I know we're short on time, if that's okay, Mr. Chairman.
Yep.
I want to make sure for everyone listening at home or what the intent is here, because I think we're in agreement. The Latino community in Georgia is a vibrant one. It adds to our state economy. I'm undocumented right now. I don't have my license with me. What we're talking about here is not undocumented immigrants. We're talking about those who violated our immigration laws, those which we have no record of their safety or non-safety, their authorization or non-authorization to be here. Those, we're just ensuring that our local governments are fully enforcing those federal laws and those restrictions to ensure our communities are safe, both the Latino community and non-Latino community. And that's what I'm still not getting a clarification if that's the intent of the organization or not, because there can be a lot of rationale given to this policy, but if that's not an agreement, which is perfectly acceptable not to be, I think that carries some influence to what we're hearing here.
Well, I think we're asking the question, is a good use of public taxpayer dollars to paint communities with a broad brushstroke and raid whole neighborhoods, whole communities, whole businesses, disrupt local economies, and make our families, especially those, there are a lot of mixed status families in the state of Georgia, disrupt their lives, disrupt those communities. And again, we know that the effects of that, regardless of how you feel about undocumented immigrants and their right to exist in the United States, but we know that these types of activities lead to an underreporting of crime when individuals who are experiencing abuse, who are being abused, who are witnessing abuse or crime, when the first question that comes into mind has to do with immigration status, that can be the defining prevention of someone reaching out to law enforcement to get the help that they deserve.
All right, Representative Ridley.
I have a question after what you just said. You said that these illegal immigrants are less likely to commit a crime, but now you're saying they're not going to report crime because they're illegal. So they're not going to report violence. So
I'm talking about specifically victims of crimes.
So,
people who are experiencing abuse and then are afraid to call law enforcement to get the help that they need because they're worried that they're going to be put into an ICE detainer when they're being abused by someone else in the home.
well, if they didn't break the law in the first place by coming here illegally, that wouldn't be happening.
Well, I know that that's your feeling, but I mean,
Well, that's the feeling of administration and the majority of voters.